This morning, we are joined by acclaimed filmmakers Ken Burns and Lynn Novick, sharing an eye-opening new documentary.
The U.S. and the Holocaust explores America's response to one of the greatest humanitarian crises in history.
And it also highlights how much the government and the American people knew as horrors were unfolding in Nazi-occupied Europe. Here's a clip.
There's a poll in late 1944, and the question is asked, do you believe that Germans are murdering Jews in concentration camps? It runs in the Washington Post. 76% of Americans by that time believe that it's happening, but then they're asked the numbers. How many Jews do you think have been killed? And Americans cannot grasp the scale and the scope of the crime. It's only 1 in 5 Americans believe that it's more than 1 million Jews who have been murdered. And by that point, it's more than 5 million.
Man. Such an important story. Ken and Lynn, good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, Al. Great to see you.
So Ken, it's been 77 years since the end of World War II. And all of a sudden, there are all these Jewish immigrants coming into this country. And we like to think that, there's a welcoming country. But when this happened, what's happening, we were not all that welcoming.
We like to say that we're this nation of immigrants, which we are, that we have been welcoming, and there were times when our borders were open, 1870 to 1920, but there was a backlash that created an immigration law that had strict quotas, particularly from countries that would have a predominant number of Catholics or Jews or Slavic people who didn't rate as high as the Nordic, Hitler would say, Aryan races. And so what happens when you have this bottleneck of a humanitarian crisis and you can't let people in, and there's also huge anti-Semitic sentiment in the United States, racism, treatment of Native Americans, which Hitler admired, that we had been able to murder and subdue our native population and isolate them into reservations. You've got a strange humanitarian crisis that we rarely reckon with. And this film is our attempt, having treated the Holocaust in other films, to understand the U.S. and the Holocaust, and to see the Holocaust in a new light, to understand the story of it.
And speaking to that, the U.S.'s involvement, at least 3/4 of the victims of the Holocaust died before the United States, the troops ever made it over on European soil. So FDR was president at the time.
Right.
Some would say if we got involved sooner, we wouldn't have had so many people die. Well, how do you address that?
Well, first, I just want to say this is such an important question, because when we think about our obligations and our responsibilities, it was very difficult for President Roosevelt to get the American people ready to fight the war. There was tremendous isolationism here, in addition to the anti-Semitism and nativism that Ken was speaking about. And so America didn't want to go to war, partly because of World War I and just it's far away, an ocean across, we don't have to get involved with what's going on over there. So by the time we finally did get sort of pulled into the war, frankly, because we were attacked at Pearl Harbor and then Hitler declared war on the United States, even then it took a while to get the army ready and to get the troops ready and all the material and get over there. By that time, as we discovered by putting all the pieces together, the Holocaust was well underway. Millions of people had been killed. And so it really wasn't possible for American troops to be there to stop the killing. On the other hand, we worked with our allies to end the war eventually. And, by the time that happened, we were able to put an end to it, but it was way too late. Right.
One of the most well-known stories of that time period, of course, is Anne Frank.
Right.
And the diary that she kept in the attic while hiding from the Nazis in Amsterdam. You discovered something about Anne Frank's story that a lot of folks probably don't know.
Yeah.
What?
It's an amazing thing. We open our entire film with it, and Anne Frank is the most familiar trope of the Holocaust for most Americans. It's where our school kids have their first introduction to it. But what we've discovered, and recent scholarship has revealed that in Otto Frank's papers, her dad, is that he spent a good deal of the 1930s trying to get into the United States, and he had all the right stuff. He crossed the T's, dotted the I's with all the unbelievable paperwork. He was a person of means. He had contacts in the United States. Those contacts were well-to-do and had contacts in the Roosevelt administration.
Wow.
He still could not get in. And so just think, what would the world be like if we had Anne Frank here and alive? And this is what the whole thing, the word 6 million means nothing, right? it means nothing. And so what you want to do is personalize it and make sure that we understand that each one of those 6 million people was a person who lived their life as full as we live ours. And if we can honor that, then we go a long way to also guarding against it. Because what's so disturbing in making this film is how many of the echoes of that time are echoing today. There's a moment in our film when the Holocaust scholar says the time to stop a genocide is before it happens. The time to save a democracy is before it gets lost.
And to that point, you end the film with things that have happened, current events, January 6th, Charlottesville. Are you linking those threads, bringing those threads together?
You know, as we were working on this film, things were happening all around us that made the story seem as urgent as anything we've ever worked on. As Ken always says, we don't think we'll work on a film that's more important because of what's happening in our world, in the United States and around the world. The rise of authoritarianism, the disintegration of our democratic institutions, the fact that we don't necessarily have faith in our elections and the rule of law, and how, you know, everything is under threat right now. This has been happening while we're working on the film, and so we felt obligated to not end this film in 1965 when we at least did do something to fix the quota system that we had and open up immigration. But there's things going on all around us right up until very recent history.
It's not the Holocaust, right? The Holocaust is its thing.
Its own thing.
But what we have is a rise, as Lynn is saying, in authoritarianism, which we both here and around the world, which we have to be. We've always been the bastion of liberty. That torch was not intended to welcome immigrants. It was intended to remind the world where the light of liberty was. And it was only through Emma Lazarus' poem and the coincidence that all the immigrants passing it, going to Ellis Island, began to identify her, our symbol, with immigration. But it's really about a beacon of liberty and democratic societies, because as even Jefferson said, you know, mankind is disposed to sort of suffer the tyrant. And it takes a lot of work to maintain a democracy. And I think we're beginning to see how fragile that is today.
Ken and Lynn, thank you so much for this film. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Again, The U.S. and the Holocaust airs this Sunday, September 18th on PBS.
It looks good. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.